how it will work out. But we're going to get started, and we love to see that. We're going to get our first map underway on Inferno, and already we have a bit of utility being dropped over to these teammates. Got Lambert on the smoke and the flash, Hadji on a smoke as well. A second flash for Lambert will be picked up, and they'll be going up against Sharks on the CT side. It is Zevi with that defuse kit this time.
Yeah, being the man to sacrifice down. He's up there as one of the top-rated players when I was having a look, so I'm excited to see what he can do alongside Luca, who's also up there. Kioz on the P250, nice little peek in towards B. Finds JNT obviously up on what was a bit of a boost right there, so he's aware that there is obviously another player somewhere around that B bomb site. Will he be aware he's still in towards the CT spawn? It doesn't really matter because that was all just a bit of a fake to pull rotations. It's taken Reelson out of position. It's left this A bomb site now weakened as Pank isn't able to do anything. Luca overwhelmed on the bomb site and the Glocks. They just reign supreme everywhere, including that P250, then taking the library control and leaving really no hope here for Reelson. I don't see his chance, Travis. Maybe a couple kills, bit of extra money. Yeah,
it'd be nice if we can actually just take this one kill. They're all going to pounce on him, though. Look at this. They're all just rushing him down as a group. He does get his one, but it's not going to be any more than that. And it's a very nice, clean pistol for LDLC. In fact, look at that for a start today. It's a team ace for LDLC. That is always nice to see. Everyone getting off the board in the first round. And that will mean that they'll be pretty well set. As we said, this is a map that they obviously will be heavily favoured on. I would say Sharks will sort of be relying on Mirage in a weird way. And if we look at, obviously, the maps that Sharks played at the Major, they only really had success on one, and that was Mirage. So, yeah, it's going to be rough for them. And we're already going to see LDLC with the 3 MAC-10s. Ligadil and the AK-47 as well, as you'd expect them to take this round. It is a force buy from Sharks, though. They have gone for the 4 Deagles with the Scout combination, and that can always be pretty scary, even since that Deagle nerf, of course. The combination of the Scout and the Deagle is always one that you have to respect. But already, a lot of damage has been done. 6 will take a tag through the edge of the wall, but no more than that. Zevi's down to 24 in that duel anyway.
Yeah, just a lot of damage in general having been dealt out here. We'll see whether LDLC can hang on to their weapons because they've gone pretty heavy in on the SMGs. With 3 of them in play, the Scout looking to do more, lands on Hadji. Now you've got 0 players who are sitting on full health. Everyone has been tagged up. These Deagles could do some very serious damage, as you said. A good combo between each other. Still a decent amount of time, at least on the clock for LDLC, if we're looking for at least 1 positive for them. But that really is all I'm seeing right now. They're going to be walking into A, which already has 2 players in place. And I was going to say quick rotations, but they seem to be getting a bit slowed down. Pankin on the bomb site is only able to get the 1. As we seen initially, Luca just overwhelmed in that bomb site, wasn't able to do anything, but they've still ended up in the 3-on-3. Do they quite know how much damage they've done, though? That's the question. Are they going to actually look to move in for this retake? It seems like they've already called for a save to be had. And I can understand it, but if they were aware of the fact that all 3 players were pretty tagged up, I think they might have at least given this a go with maybe JNT to try and find an opening or something, since he doesn't really have quite as much to lose. But I'm okay with them saving this over. At least they'll have something to work with in this next round.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I think saving 3 is fine. Of course, if you don't win or win this round and don't do enough damage, really, it's always worth saving and just trying again with the same sort of buy in the next. Of course, that's important for LDLC to survive with 3 alive and build up that money for the future. The majority of their players, of course, Sharks will have another go with the pistols and the Scout combination. And yeah, we're going to probably see a 3-0 either way, but you never know. Some of these Sharks players also, of course, are very, very young, and they're not called young Sharks for nothing. And they're also very talented as well, of course. We saw them at the Major. That was sort of a baptism of fire for them, really, at the Major, wasn't it? It was like, it was such a huge step up for them after qualifying that it seemed like they were very nervous in certain scenarios and in their, especially in their matches. I think, who was it? Was it Payne, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken. And we saw that, look very nervy in that one. But yeah, I haven't actually played an HLTV official since that major matchup, so it's going to be probably likely that we'll see a bit more of them right now and see what they can do. Already Sixer somehow made his way through library and all the way around again, so that's one way to do it. JNT can go looking for it. Thanks on the USB, trying to get some double taps, but in the end the MAC-10's going to be too strong. He will jump into JNT though, will Lambert. It should be found through the smoke. He is. Wilson's taking one as well. With Hadji finding him, it should be the A site taken, and they should get it down.
Yeah, I don't think JNT can do much more. Yeah, even going to be spammed down through the smoke there and towards Moto. As you were saying, it really wasn't a great time in that matchup back at the major, unfortunately, for the boys in Sharks. And it's kind of surprising because it was within South America that they were having really all of their success, being able to win out the DreamHack to get here, having good runs within the IEM Fall South American, and I believe within the other DreamHacks as well, getting a couple of second places also. So it's one you maybe would have expected them to have picked up against their fellow Brazilians, but they have kind of shown some weaknesses as well, rather well playing within Europe. I think they played in like one of the Malta Vibes tournaments and really didn't do very well over there. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see now, because obviously there's a little bit of adjusting to do, a bit of adapting to do in terms of the styles that you're facing off against. And now that they've had a bit longer, I do wonder if we're going to get to see maybe a different face from them. We're only really going to get to start finding out now, though, is that the guns actually come into play. Before this, only pistols, of course. Now they've even got the op coming out.
Yeah, it's always good to get the AWP out on the first round, of course, on your first actual buy round. But yeah, I mean, of course, I watched the Sharks versus Pain game at the major, and just seeing. I think the main thing I remember from it is the fact that insane ancient game that went to like I think double, triple overtime. They had an 18-15 Sharks on the CT side, right, to ruin everyone's 0-3 pick that they expected it to be Sharks. And they just couldn't close out the one round required to take the series 2-0. And in the end, moving to the final decider, they just lost it 16-14. Now, obviously, with a bit of a hangover from not taking the opportunity. 16-4, sorry, yeah, I saw the 4 and said 14 for some reason. But yeah, the hangover from that, only winning 4 rounds, was a huge shame. And they should have taken that, and they'll probably still be thinking that today. Well, you'll lose sleep over for sure. But will they lose sleep over this round? Let's see. We've got a double mid hold coming in right now. The resmoke will come in just at the right time. At least they're looking to perhaps pop through it. They got flashes for it. Lambert's going to get sent in, but Luca will help him out just before that flash took his teammate down, basically. And 6 is so low as well. That nade almost took him down. But at least Sharks have a 5 versus 4 to work with, despite the damage to Zevi.
Mollies, though, are still slowing that mid push quite heavily, and then a ton of damage has been put out there with that spray on towards Maka. So you've got both Sixer and Maka on the brink of death. It's really not looking too good for LDLC. It is slightly the bonus round approach, with plenty of money still on 3 of the players to buy if needed in the following, but you would see Maka and Lambert being a little bit low on economy, so they don't really want to be giving it up too easy. They will now be wrapping around for that long control. Looking like it's going to have to be the A hit, considering the time that they've got available, but they're taking a while to start moving in on mid. Leaving Haji here alongside Kiaz on long to get pretty much all of the heavy lifting done, and well, a fantastic opening. The second there for the follow-up, he actually manages to take out Luca in the grave as well. As suddenly, they're given hope, they're given a bomb plant with only 3 seconds, I believe that was, remaining. And you've got Reelzin and JNT just not even bothering to budge off of that B-bomb site. They're going to be staying in place and saving those M4s. Absolutely fantastic entries from Haji, and a great trade from Kiaz as well to actually deal with that player in towards the grave. They should not have been able to have recovered that. To have recovered that, rather. They weren't even pushing alongside with the short players in time. It was just the 2 moving in from long, and the 3 of them holding from the bomb site and from grave aren't able to deal with them.
Yeah, that was so rough as well, considering Maka was 10 HP and Sixer was 16 as well. I mean, Haji got that important entry, as you say, but Kios, I mean, he was insane the other day against Copenhagen Flames. He had a ridiculous series. I mean, I can just quickly check that for you and just give you an absolutely accurate number on what that was. I casted that match against Copenhagen Flames. Kios went 75-59 over the 3-map series. On Inferno, he went 25-14. On Ancient, he went 27-22. On Mirage, he went an even 23-23. And Haji was the one to carry that Mirage at 32-16. So, yeah, I mean, these are the 2 guys that if you're on LDLC, you support them, you want them to pop off. And if they do pop off, you've got a great chance at winning any game, basically, because these guys are supremely talented. And as you say, I feel kind of sad for Luca in Graveyard. If he gets a double spray down on that second guy who took a while to finish him off, I believe that was Kios, just readjusted in the end to help out. If he gets that, I would say the 2 versus 2 retake is certainly worth it, with, Sixer and, as I said, Haji being 1 HP as well. So, yeah, it's a shame, but as it is, it will mean LLC win that first buy round and make it up to 4-0, and the duo M4 save will be all they'll be able to do in the end.
Yeah, as you were saying about the the kind of duo there of Haji and Kiaz needing to show up. I think on Inferno it's the most important because you don't really get the up of Maka showing up quite as much. Obviously, he's one of the players you also look towards for those frags, and he'll tend to be a little bit more inconsistent here on Inferno in general. It can be harder to get the up out. It can be harder to make it work. You don't be quite as aggressive anyway on the CT side. A lot of teams will even just skip picking it up on T side altogether. So it is nice to have your riflers on point on a map like this. The pause at the moment, though, is a bit of a longer one, so I'm wondering whether we're maybe on a technical. Either way, those Sharks, they would have wanted a little bit of a chat with how that first gun round has gone down, even with the 2 weapons being saved over as well. I'm not too sure if they can even scrape anything together. Might still see them looking at a bit of an eco. Must have been a technical one, I'm presuming. There, as you can see with your kill feed lighting up multiple colours. Nice
little round reset there. Don't worry, everyone's not dead. They're going to be just reset and we'll go again. I'm sure that's not going to take too long to sort this one out. You can hear the ticks in the chat as they discuss exactly what's going on, and hopefully we'll get started again. Everyone readying up and getting themselves set again. But yeah, I mean, we all knew that this would be a tough one for Sharks, but I think for LDLC, in general, they have a genuine chance of making a decent run in this event. If Maka is the reliable AWP that you need on the CT side, especially, because as you said, I'm not sure if necessarily he'll go to it too early on the T side. But if he's the reliable AWP in general, and Haji and Kios can pop off, and Sixer's just that reliable experience in the background, which he has been as of late, to be fair to him, even though he's been around forever, genuinely they could make a pretty decent run here. It's actually interesting in this next round coming up as well that we're seeing Sharks go in for a force buy alongside those 2 saved M4s, which obviously with the lack of AWP is a little bit risky, but they're happy with it because they do have decent util at least. So it's worth it. The one fan that's on Pank is basically the only fallback.
Oh, nice little pick in on long there from Zevi. I thought you might have actually struggled a little bit with Maka. I was going to say, we've got to remember for Sharks here as well that obviously this isn't really a map that they're big fans of. I didn't really expect it to even come true. I thought it would be banned out and that the overpassing would be floated for a little while by them. But we have ended up here, so I think they feel like they kind of need to pressure the issue here a little bit earlier on and not let it get too out of hand so that they're working from miles behind. Well, with that initial entry, as we said, from Zevi, perhaps there is some hope. JNT considering going through this smoke. It seems like a pretty bad idea at this stage, especially as the nade does some further damage. But it's not really the commitment quite ready to go in yet. As you can see, you've still got a lurker over on A who might be able to do a little bit with this. I was going to say Sixer, if he started pushing there, might have found the players starting to push forward on short, but they've kind of abandoned that for now. Instead, they're hoping that this one smoke from Sixer will be enough to keep them in place and potentially pull a player away from B. Although they might even move back, are they?
This is Sixer's role. The lurk is Sixer's role. He does it quite well as well. Always maybe getting a cheeky frag as he hears the rotations coming through. But as you say, 20 seconds to go and the bomb is sort of indecisive right now. It's such a weird call. They're going to go toward A in the end, despite the fact there's a play coming in toward B. Haji gets taken down 3 versus 5. They're going to have to rush this one and they're going to have to start to clear out the site before they can even get the bomb onto it. It surely is going to be a Sharks round and it's going to be an absolute wipeout. Just indecision there, Dean. Not really quick enough on that play.
Yeah, he was walking incredibly slowly down Banana. Obviously, initially, you don't want to give the steps away to the players on B. But even when he got to the bottom of mid itself, he took a little while to fully decide, I guess, to commit back over towards A alongside Sixer. And by the time they get there, they had, what, 9 seconds as they're stepping around short. There's just not enough time to deal with players in on the bomb site, let alone a crossfire between the pit and the site itself. So it's a weird one there from LDLC. I'm not going to lie. It looked like initially the fake was going to be sold towards A. Kind of outbrained themselves, if anything, going for a bit of a double fake. We'll see what can be done. They've still got a decent investment on the side of LDLC. As I had said, it was kind of the bonus round approach. You've got Lambert stuck on a Mach 10, but other than that, rifles in play. Decent utility as well. An early pressure towards Banana, but they've given it up then completely to move back over towards A here. And this seems to be the correct idea based on the 3 players early on B, and I'm wondering if they noticed that from nades, perhaps.
Possibly. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. They will take top mid, though. And Haji actually has position to throw his molly in toward pit. He will flub it to begin with, but that's a big pick from Kios on top of that pallet toward long. Possibly the only reason he gets that kill as he survives on 6 HP. And now they're going to try and take the site. Second entry for Kios, despite being so low. Now all down to Luca. Can he get more from the pit? He can't. He's run down quite literally by Lambert's Mach 10. And if he got one more, then perhaps it would have activated JNT and Reels in to have a look at this one. But as it is, they're going to have to fall back. No shadow of a doubt and save these 2 rifles. They will have will be able to have some form of a bye in the next round, as they did obviously win their only round so far with all 5 players alive. So it's good for them, but it's going to be 5th for LDLC either way, mostly thanks to Kios once again.
Yeah, Kios is looking really impressive here. Isn't
Pride of Belgium.
doesn't have the highest stats in general on the team, but I think that's because he tends to be a little bit more of a sleeper agent. He won't be up there as the top fragger every game. Some games he'll just be doing his job, staying around the middle. But then when he's really needed, as I was saying, in a map like this where Maka can't really get going as much with an up on the T side, that's when he steps up and just starts delivering these entries like an absolute monster, as we're seeing so far.
Absolutely.
Currently on 7-1. We're only heading into round 7 now. Of a buy again from Sharks, at least, but it's a rough one. They've spent everything. They've got most of the nades at least behind them. There's nothing really lacking in that regard, but if they're to lose this round, then LDLC have the opportunity to just start running away with this T side. And we said with Mirage coming up next, if LDLC are able to take a super one-sided victory here on Inferno, then they're going to have insane momentum to carry over into a map that they are still pretty solid at. Good entry though by Zevi.
That was nice as well. Not even going for the fast pick as well, not risking it. Going against his fellow AWP player in Maka, of course. He didn't have the AWP, but still. He will get himself a second as well, while blind toward the king so far of Kios. But there's still this luck with apartments. He will jump at the right time, but Zevi gets himself a third. Even looking for more as well. He's got a player toward long to duel against, but Lambert's not going to give him any more. Doesn't want to increase that confidence on the CT side AWPer of Zevi. Realizes just jump spotting the half full on Banana, and he'll spot that player, so just fall back off that one. And should secure Sharks' second, but he has to make sure he delays the time enough here. He's sort of in the open toward the side. He'll get caught off by Lambert, but no. It's a nice hold. Leave for the last. Haji finds him. But it's unlikely that he'll be able to do much in this 1 versus 4. Can get the bomb planted, which is good money for the future. But I think it's going to be an easy one for Sharks. He can actually retreat toward the back of the site. They're not going to pounce. Good patience from Sharks here. Not wanting to go in 1 by 1. Not taking any risks. You need to take this one slowly. You know it's Haji on the other side. Don't worry, it's not Luca in the photo. I can assure you it is Haji in this 1 versus 4. You'll actually get the first. He needs the ace to win this one out, though, and now he's down to 13 HP, so it should be no more in this situation. And Pank finds him, so there's the second. And that was a very nice round from Zebi to clear that one up.
Yeah, 2 great entries and a little bit more on top of it. A little bit of icing on the cake, of course. Op going to be recovered too, to be dropped back over, which is ideal. You don't have to be rebuying that up every single round. They're going to be rocking the double op setup, so obviously that's a very expensive setup here in general, meaning they're still in a dangerous position where 1 round, because you could easily rather have them completely broken down. And LDLC haven't actually gotten the bomb plant for themselves as well. They're going to look to keep that pressure on. And we're even getting the op out on Maka for what I believe now is the first time. I don't think we've seen this from him quite yet. I decided against it before. Initially, he just kind of sat on the rifle, not needing to upgrade off those initial couple gun rounds with the success. But now he just about scrapes it out. And I was going to say we might see the challenge in towards middle, but no, it's Sixer who's on the receiving end. He won't be taken out of play, but still a good bit of damage there early on put in favor of the CT side. And Zevi again from short is good for 1. Peeks back in to take out Maka. It's a fantastic trade, but he sticks around and eventually falls to Lambert. And with that long wrap coming in, I was going to say A was in trouble, but they've actually taken it through Arch instead. And now decide to slow it down and move it back in to catch Luca, who's currently out of position in on that long corner. And he's not able to get more than 1.
Yeah, that's a shame, but look at the damage done. I mean, Lambert's 19, Sixer's 29. Again, a great round from Zevi, but can Realzin do anything about this 1 versus 2? He's in on a late flank toward middle, might decide to go toward the apartments. I think that's what he will choose. But Lambert on the recovered AWP will pick it up on that low HP, of course, and has the angle. Will he expect Wilson so close, though? He does flick nicely, Lambert. If he missed that shot, it was going to be an insta-death for him, as he had no place to fall back. And it's a big frag, because that could have set Realzin up nicely for that 1 versus 1 against the low HP of Sixer. But at the end of the day, it is LDLC reaching 6, and that was close, but no cigar, unfortunately, for Sharks.
Yeah, giving them their second round, and as I had said, off the back of a double up setup, so it was very, very necessary that they were able to get that one sorted. But ideally, it's unfortunately now a pretty rough buy that they've been able to pull through. You've even got I was going to call it glass cannon, but I guess I'll just go armorless M4. Doesn't really warrant the cannon title, unfortunately.
No.
But yeah, he's not going to be matching up in this round to Maka. Instead, Zevi will have to get that done. But he's been doing a great job on the op, so you can understand taking that bit of a sacrifice. And I'd ideally, personally, be loving kind of the belief that my teammate has in me if they were JNT, dropping it over, sacrificing armor completely. We've got a slower
secondary
round
last round, right? JNT had the secondary op in that previous round as well.
Yeah, he did.
Like he obviously could have been like, okay, I'm the secondary, I have no armor, I'm taking it. But as you say, clearly he's saying that Zevi's having a great start to the day and wants him to get some more frags on the board. And again, he has a nice aggressive angle toward Boiler, as you say. They're looking to possibly go in toward mid. There isn't just one player toward Banana. That is Kios. He's up a long way though. But he's not seeing either of these two players. He'll be a bit confused that he might just be walking into two right now. Gets the information, actually almost takes down JNT, but that's what they did with him. They boosted up that armorless rifle on toward quad, and it actually works out for the one kill. They're going toward mid off the back of it, though, and Pank, he does just about get one. Unfortunately, it's only one frag for Haji, though, and it's going to be a cleanup for Sharks. Very nicely done and doing exactly what you should do with a rifle with no armor. Smart stuff.
Yeah, giving them a very crucial third round, and finally, after quite a bit of effort, breaking down that economy over on the LDLC side of things. Does seem like it'll be pretty much the full eco as well. There's not a lot of money there even for pistols to be afforded. I mean, in the case of Kios, even you've got a bit of a double eco going, unfortunately, so that's definitely not ideal. See exactly what decision they come to here, because they're having a little bit of a chat. They're using one of those timeouts, understandably. I think that's one thing teams will be hopefully fairly liberal with during this tournament, with how much is on the line with those 3 Pro League spots going. Because sometimes in the likes of Premier that we cover, teams will be a bit lax on the pauses because they think, it's just Premier.
It's not just Premier, guys. Come on. Every match counts. Give you a chance, of course. We have to remind you guys that some of the teams that are in this event and that have made it to ESL Pro League themselves made it through Premier. So it's a big deal. And we'll talk a lot more about that later in the Anonymous Order match, because that is, I think, our last match today. But it's also, a lot of backstory with that one on how these teams actually got here. But as it is, this is the present. We're going to talk about that right now. It is a force buy, as you say, for LDLC, with a couple of those players, as you mentioned, Dean, being on double eco. And they're going to actually make their way toward the apartment, so possibly an apps pop coming in. Lambert's flashes are going to help out, and Luke is actually going to get caught off. Perfect timing on the pop, and a second flash comes in to absolutely destroy Pank and Pit, but he's doing lots of great work still. Still manages to get one kill, not sure how, considering he was so blind. Zevi's helping out too from the side. He knows where one player is, he knows there's a player in Pit as well, but that's a disgusting shot from Maka. Back into a 2 versus 2. Good damage from LDLC either way. A booster reels in to look for the bomb planter. He is toward default. The smoke will cover it for now. You won't be seeing anything. They don't have a defuse kit picked up yet either, do Sharks, so they're going to have to hurry up about this one. Problem is that Maka does have that AWP picked up now, and he can just hold the line. Sixer can help him out by just peeking on the correct timing from Pit. They both are now onto the site, but again, they're going to have to try and tap the bomb here and force these players out. A smoke can be deployed, and a tap can come in. Maka's going to use his deagle. They now know where both players are, but in the end, I don't think it's going to work out. Look at the amount of damage done. Sixer got the first, and he spams down reels into 4 HP as well, and now it's really all down to him to be found. And Maka will even spot him on top of the smoke, so it is the force by victory.
Oof.
Yes,
that was not one they could be afford to be losing. You get kind of 2 of the stars in there again with Haji and Maka contributing, but also a really good round from Sixer. And in recent times, I believe he's also been one of their stronger players. I think especially in some of the kind of lower tier games, he tends to be a pretty consistent force. So hopefully that's something he's going to be able to carry over. Yeah, having a look here in the kind of time they've had with this roster, he is one of the 3 that's actually positive in terms of KD. So he's up there alongside Maka and Haji, and it maybe wouldn't be the case when you initially look at this roster. Obviously, back in the day, in his prime, Sixer was an absolute monster, but I think he was kind of past that even in his days in the CSGO top scene. Yeah, in Envious. So yeah, it's interesting to see that he's able to find a little bit of form here in a team where he's perhaps not surrounded by quite as much in terms of everyone being a star.
Yeah, I mean, like he's doing his role, right? He's a role player for this team. He's the lurker. He can catch players off. He can even win out important rounds as well. And yeah, it's important stuff. for him to continue, obviously, this role on this team. Keeps his name in the limelight. That's a nice jump spot from Kios, actually. Just double checking that the double orange, or second orange, sorry, position is clear. Spots that player, has to fall back down, and now he's in a very tough spot. Boost coming in, but in the end, only one frag for Luca. He can accept that, considering he just got the USP. Of course, LDLC will be looking to try and survive with as many players alive as possible in this one. So it's a full eco for Sharks. And there's Sixer on that look once again, even getting a cheeky frag for himself. Now it's just Pank remaining, and they've left themselves a lot of money, thankfully, Sharks, for this next round coming up. They're definitely going to have the AWP on Zevi again. He has 4k that he's saved over, so it's something. And we've seen that, you know, what Sharks can do when LDLC do walk into that AWP. Multi-fragging, of course, Zevi on a couple of these rounds so far. But as you say, Dean, with the LDLC now reaching 8, that confirms their lead on the half already. I would say that it's already looking to be a tough one for the Brazilian side, the young Brazilian side.
Yeah, we can't forget about that YNG that they rock in their net. But exactly. Yeah, already the half being won out here by LDLC. By LDLC, apologies. A little bit of a cough there. It's worrying to say the least, but it's not really incredibly surprising, is it either? In my kind of breakdown of where I thought the veto was going to go, this was, for me, the one that Sharks were going to ban out, knowing that it's so strong for LDLC. But yeah, they weren't really willing to take that risk with Overpass for some reason. I think it may have cost them a little bit in this series, because if they got rid of Inferno, then they likely would have ended up on a little bit more of a middle ground here. A bit more similar to how their own map choice has gone with Mirage. But we'll see now. It is a very crucial round. We've got the double up setup back in play, which worked out earlier on for them when they were able to get it out. It was Zevi who done the majority of the work, but JNT definitely able to find something as well, as we can see there, with a shot landing on Banana, but it's not quite the kill yet.
Chaos obviously on that M4A4 on the T side. I've always liked using the A1S on the T side, not necessarily the M4A4. Of course, the fire rate's higher than the AK, but still. Didn't really help him in that duel, though. That grenade has absolutely owned him. But once again, Sixer on this apartment slug is just doing so much work. Look at the amount of tension it took away. Unfortunately for him, he got taken down, and Lambert couldn't take advantage of it. So Sharks will just about survive. A nice attempt from Sixer there to catch 2 players in the side. He's going to make his way up through middle. There's a player in the long cubby he's going to have to worry about. But he's being joined up right now by Luca on that AWP. Recovered as he's low HP from Zevi. Going in for the duel, but walking right into the scope of Maka. And that's what they think that AWP can do. Hadji hard clears the corner as well. Great clearing from him. All the basics that you should be doing. Check every corner. Now it's all down to Pank in pit. He does hit a nice shot toward Hadji and take him down, but he's not going to expect Kios loking in again from the apartment's position. Unusual, you expect 2 from apartments. So, and with JNT on the AWP, can he really retake? It's going to be hard. I think he's already calling it off.
Yeah, I think he's out of there, understandably. Might give it over to Zevi again if he's if he's still the best of teammates, but I think in this case they're likely going to be left on the eco also. So he'll probably just keep it for himself. We'll see based on spawns and such. But either way, LDLC have once again in a round where they have a bit of a disadvantage, where it looks like they're on the back foot, are very easily able to flip it on its head. It seems it's not the first time we've seen that. The kind of first round that comes to mind is the one where they were able to creep around long, very similar to this one. And then you had the Maki and the Maka rather, and Kia's kind of combo able to deal with the 3-man stack between the side pit and the grave. And it seems like just some of these impossible situations are going their way, and that's not something you can let happen. Especially on a map here for Sharks that isn't ideal. I mean, I can understand some harder situations kind of slipping away from them when things get really down and dirty. But in some of these rounds, rather, they're just really letting things fall apart when it really shouldn't be allowed to happen. Some of these positions, some of the setups, rather, are strong to allow for trades and such, but they end up just not playing off each other.
Absolutely, yeah. Kios even judging that bomb explosion, by the way, in the previous round. He was on 19 HP. It explodes and takes him down to 3. So he even gets to stay alive for one more round. Look at going for a peek toward the apartments, but this time there's 2 players to face. Sixer's there once again. He's got Kios in tow. This is Deagles just around this AWP for Sharks on this round. Some damage done. But in the end, he has to fall back off of that angle. Kios knew where he was. And it should be double digits for LDLC coming up, but if they somehow manage to walk into JNT's scope, then you never know what could happen. Again, as we said, with the apartments set up and the apartments control, for LDLC. It's obviously very powerful in this sort of situation. By the way, I'll just sort of let you know, guys, know that we do know that the player photos aren't necessarily matching up with the correct players right now. They're just sort of lagging a bit behind at the moment, but we'll try and get that fixed for you in future maps. I hope it will be. Who knows?
Hadji and Lambert
We'll
must
try
be
our
twins.
best.
They look the exact same. We've got a picture
Hadji
swap
for
now,
Lambert. Yeah, that's Hadji there. Yeah, which is we're looking at Lambert. So just a letting you guys know that we are aware of that.
It's only fair. They showed Hadji as Lambert before, so now Lambert's going to be Hadji. Kios is Hadji as well. We're all Hadji.
Everyone's Hadji. I mean, he is a god. He wouldn't want to be Hadji.
Look at this Faco. It's against the weaker buy, so understandably Sharks are a little bit more willing to bite. No pun intended. Yeah. But B is going to be completely open, so this bomb's going to go down. There'll be very little resistance. But, I mean, there is going to be an up-save, though, I think that's a positive for Sharks. It's not really worth going for anything with that. Send over the few deagles, maybe leave them around the bottom of Banana or around the CT sponge. Try and get an exit or two here. And if possible, maybe steal away one or two of those AKs going into this next round, because it's Sharks who just desperately need these final two.
Yeah, Sharks can afford to hunt with the deagles, as you say, but do you want to risk it by leaving the AWP all alone, right? So just stick all 4 players alive anyway. It doesn't really matter. Only, as we said, only a few rounds left in the half anyway. So 10-5 is their hope and their goal. And Dean, well, I'm interested in your thoughts as well. Like, we've obviously seen a lot lately about how Vitality are going for this rumoured Danish mix, right? With Zonic, Magisk and Dupree coming in. I honestly would have loved to see them stick with French or stick with France and go for someone like Hadji, just personally, because in general, he's been the main flagger for this team at this level. He was still good when he was on that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was on that Envious team for a decent period of time as well, when Scream was still around. And he was good then as well. So I'm kind of disappointed they haven't wanted to take a risk on maybe him. Maybe, if Jax wants to move on from G2 after having his shot at the major final, maybe grab Jax as well. Stuff like that, right? I can just keep it a full French team. That could easily, for me, be still a top 3 team. But, still, who knows?
They want more than that, though. I think that's the thing, no?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think at the moment...
I wish Hadji got his shot, though.
Yeah, I've got to agree, though. He's been super consistent for these boys as well. And, I mean, you say surely he's going to get his chance with the kind of level that he's consistently shown, but he's been doing that for so long and still hasn't got it that you're just saying, when the hell is it going to happen? But we've got to focus back on this for now, because it looks like we might have a quicker one, although a perfectly timed smoke there from Sharks is going to be able to slow the push down for now. They are still making a bit of noise in behind that. A smoke dropped out on the balcony, some pressure being put on with the spam. They have also, I believe, made a bit of noise around Banana there, at least leaving one player as well to ensure they weren't going to be flanked. So they know that's not happening. They haven't got the actual Banana control, so for now their full focus is towards this A-bomb site, really hoping that a little bit of a mistake will be made and a peek will be given away.
Yeah, right now I'm not giving them anything. And I think that's the key for Sharks. They've obviously had quite a few opening picks, but haven't managed to translate it into all the rounds they should have. This could have easily been perhaps a 9-6 half already if they won some of those rounds that they should have won, that they'll be thinking they should have won. Zevi toward Arch. Can he defend in this position? They're going to have flashes primed for this one. They're going to have smokes as well. In comes a flash, but it's a good collateral for Zevi. Gets himself the kill towards Sixer and the damage to Kios. Eventually it's traded. Thankfully, Kios is the one to go in second. That player who was collateral, so it's not too much damage, but it's not going to matter when Pank just takes the head off of Hadji like that. Maka with a great trade for the edge of a box somewhere around, but Pank is still sitting on the site. Maka and Lambert to find. That's a shot and a half from Maka, though. Goodness me. On the AWP again, and Reelsin cannot stop Lambert from... Well, he can stop Lambert, but he can't stop Maka from jumping onto the site. Unfortunately, Reelsin will manage to push hard and just catch Maka with a grenade out. So it was close, but in the end, they just go aggressive enough to stop them from doing any further.
Yeah, that one was hook, line, and sinker. He reels in the round.
Okay. Not bad, actually. I felt like you planned that one since last night.
No, that actually came to me right there as you were speaking, and I was like, I need to get this in right now.
Yeah, fantastic. Love it. That's one of your better ones, to be fair,
Thank
mate.
you.
Go on, continue.
I don't usually set the bar very high. But Sharks, fantastic. I mean, their bar's been set kind of low for what they can get here in terms of their CT half, of course. 5 won't be ideal. But if they can get this 5th round, if they can get off to a decent start with the pistol, then there's still some hope for them to go forward and make it a bit more competitive. Because, again, we don't really necessarily need them to win this map.
Exactly. Mirage coming up is their best map, technically. Oh, there we go for that pick toward apartments. Oh, goodness me. That was unfortunate for him. I think he probably spot the legs before Sixer took him down, but yeah, not to beat. At least the trade came in, which was good. That's one back for Luca to take Sixer down. Little setup coming in toward the apartments, working out for that 1-for-1. But yeah, Mirage coming up, it is Shark's best map statistically. But of course, we know LDLC is pretty decent on it as well, so that could be the problem. Luca manages to catch Kios just as he jumps in, which is really nice pick, actually. He can even chuck down some utility to help his teammates as well. Hank looking to try and get one more toward Pit, but Hadji will stop him. Now it's basically all down to Luca on the site. The AWP is here, though. Maka perhaps trying to go for this pick, but he's getting tagged down. Luca's getting mollied out of position, though. I think Lambert actually spams him down through the wall there. And the Molotov will force out JNT as well. And that's just fallen apart in the space of 2 seconds, thanks to a wall bang and a Molotov. Can you believe it? Last round of the half, Rilson's going to have to go in for this one. But there's not really much hope he has of it. He has a defuse kit, but I don't think it's really all what he can hope for. He's going to get dinked already. There's the information. The grenade now is the only thing he has to hope for. But Lambert will take him down. And it's a solid 11-4 on the half for LDLC. We'll go to a break. See you after this. Welcome back, guys, to LDLC versus the Young Sharks. We've got 11-4 half for the LDLC boys, as you would expect on a map such as this. But Sharks will be disappointed that they didn't make that half a little bit closer. There was quite a number of rounds where they could have probably taken them in a different universe. Some advantages they threw away and good setups that they couldn't bring through. Can they do anything about LDLC in the second half on the T side? Dean, thoughts?
Maybe. I mean, there was moments where they were matching up an individual skill, right? But they were relying pretty heavy on the likes of Zevi being able to get those early picks, on Luca as well as been fragging fairly well. And even then, they were letting a lot of those advantages slip away. So it's definitely got to be LDLC who are primed for the win right now. They've capitalized on all of the mistakes that they've been given the opportunity to capitalize on. And if this pistol round goes their way, then there's very little hope of Sharks starting to get their way back into Inferno. Instead, they'll be likely having Mirage on their mind. Be a pretty clear picture ahead of them.
Information for Sixer there as he shoulder picked the apartments, and some information for Mako as well. Actually falls all the way back to the top of Banana. I'm surprised that they didn't try and take advantage of that. Going for a pick, but they heard him running away. Sixer's got this smoke to play with, and now he's had to go inside it because he's out of bullets. Will they know that? I'm not sure. Haji's going to help out on the site anyway. Look at Zevi up close with Sixer. Finally finds him. And that's a 4 versus 3 for LDLC somehow. Genti's still lurking around the site. There are 2 players here still to be found. Looking for the first, but Lambert will help him out despite getting 1. So at least he does get the 1. But it might not be enough. Wheels in is toward the apartment still. Hasn't jumped down yet. Will finally do so. And take Maka, actually. Now there's a chance. If they can hit their headshots, of course. These are some tough angles to find. But now Lambert with taking Zebi. It's only Reels in left. And he's out of bullets. He's out of ammunition. Both these players are stacked up on top of each other, though. And it's a bit of a wild one. But Haji with some movement will just about seal it. That was weird. Just weird.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. I started believing in Reelson even there in the end. Once you have that Glock up close, he gets the first kill. Haji starts doing a little bit of a spin even. It was quite scary, I won't lie. But unfortunately for Sharks, they aren't able to edge it out in their own favour. Instead, LDLC up to 12, likely to keep on going with that scoreline building. And it really does just leave Sharks in a tough position. Kind of in the spot we expected them to go into, being down a map, then heading on to Mirage. But I expected more of a fight than this. It's not going to really be very confidence-inspiring, I've got to say, but it's still been a pretty strong map here on Mirage for LDLC. Good kill early on with that nade, a nice little collateral then off the scout as well. This is just going to be a very fast cleanup, I'd imagine, and it's the SMGs as well that are nearby. A lot of spams though on Sixer. He didn't have a good time. Thankfully his teammates aren't going to struggle quite as much, but still, you've got to feel a little bit unlucky that you're not able to get in on the eco action because of those Glocks spamming you.
Yeah, I mean, feel unlucky if you're Lambert as well. I mean, he came in on the flank there and just jumped through the smoke as the player dies in front of him on the MP5. So, yeah, nothing much to be found. But this is the chance now for Young Sharks. We have this bonus round coming in for LDLC. They're going to have the Scout, the MP5, an MP9. They're not going to have the only rifle they're going to have, I believe, is Haji on the FAMAS, unless Kears has got something on the floor. He has the AWP. Okay, so that's interesting. We're keeping Maka on the Scout and Kios on the AWP for this first round, but still, it should be one that they'll be able to make work for Sharks, considering they have the very big advantage on the buy. Already some good damage coming in. Exactly a trade of damage, to be fair. 30 and 29. Nade coming in. Could land on the head of Pank. Oh, that's a touchdown. And that's already a great start. Utility, of course, is big for LDLC in a round such as this when you're playing bonus.
Sixer's position as well, deep banana. I was going to say a moment ago that the tag from the scout with him not having the op was a little bit awkward, but thankfully he had that nade to finish it off. I'm presuming Kiaz had taken that based on the spawn, and it was to allow them to get this aggressive banana control, which unfortunately is getting aggressive with an MP9. That's not the weapon you want on this flank. So as you can see, it doesn't work out all that well, but the op will step in. Kiaz is even looking for a little bit more here. Sends Sixer out swinging wide, and he pays the price for it. Suddenly, I was going to say it's a 3-on-3, but a shot through the smoke there nails the bomb carrier and leaves there only 50 seconds on the clock now for Sharks to actually get something done. But in terms of health, they are looking a little bit better on that front, but they need to get that bomb fast. He's actually, at the moment, being very cautious of second mid, meaning there's plenty of time being ran down on that clock. And, well, with the aggression you've got down banana, with the player watching the arch cross, they've got to have a pretty good idea of where this bomb's going to be taken in the end.
Oh, and of course, with 20 seconds to go, I mean, Kios is right here on the low HP with the AWP. Can he get a shotgun AWP situation going? He might catch the bomb, and that could be the round. Oh, it's a big whiff from Kios. That could be the round sorted, but it does still delay JNT. But I think they're going to sort it out anyway. They're going to rotate the positions around to get that smoke down, and Kios is unfortunately lost the round for his team. Thankfully, it's not in a close situation where, you know, it's like, what, 10-all or whatever, or right at the end of the game. They still have a 13, what should be 13-5 lead as the save will come in, but he'll be ruining that miss. That was one that he should have taken.
Yeah, that one was a little bit hard to watch, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's a bit awkward. He was walking sideways up mid the entire way and then kind of steps forward towards second mid just as he takes the shot. So he's probably like, why did you move? But it happens. It be like that. It is quite unfortunate. He got a couple of kills, though, to be fair, on the op, so I'm curious as to whether he hangs on to this now or how exactly they're going to work this one out, because they haven't got money on everyone to buy. But with the scoreline that they have, with it not being saved over, I think they'll probably try and make it work at least. Maka could drop one over, in fairness. He could drop over that rifle to Kiaz and take the op in return. I think that's the way I'd go with it. But he's actually going to just pull out a secondary op, glass cannon. I could back it. With weaker weapons elsewhere, I can understand having the need, I suppose, for this extra bit of firepower. And it's going to definitely catch Sharks off guard that there's going to be a secondary op also potentially taking a peek.
Absolutely, yeah. I actually kind of like this call, genuinely. Of course, surrounded by the two pistols as well. And probably an M4. And there we go. We see it picked up. So we'll be curious to see how it pans out. I mean, that last round is unlucky because Kios has had a pretty sick game so far, 18-8. He's basically done everything right. But in that situation, of course, being low as well, that can sort of take your attention away and sort of make you think you need to be extra careful with your shot. And when you're extra careful and not thinking clearly, perhaps that's when you miss your AWP shot. And that should have been 14 for LDLC. It would have dropped the bomb in middle. Luca wouldn't have been able to take that on the player on the site as well, I believe. So it would have probably sorted itself out into a timeout situation. But yeah, still, this is still a good round chance here for LDLC with this double AWP. Mac is going to go peeking with this AWP, and he needs to be careful. He needs a bit of flashbang here to peek this one. There's going to be a player spotted walling back, but actually, was that a tag for 10 HP with the AWP through the floor? That's not one you see too often. Takes it down to 90. And I think now Sharks are aware that there's at least one, but they haven't heard the second, so who knows yet what they think and what they'll decide to do. 1 minute 20 to go. Some smokes will be dropped over, of course, with the utility now being available to be dropped between teammates. You see that a lot on Inferno. I think actually more on Inferno than any other map, to be fair. Mac is in position. What can he do about it?
Well, he's going to have to do a lot, as you can see, with pretty much everyone swarming out through short, but he's got a bit of help on the bomb site. He's already fallen back in with a smoke down now as well to give some cover, but they've all been spotted, and Luca just gets a mad spray down, taking all three of them on that bomb site and being an absolute hero because they needed that. He's down to 50 in health as well. If he falls there, Zevi's miles away, the bomb's lost, and they just have no hope at all. But he is the hero of the round, and he's left Sixer with zero options, really. He's just going to be saving that up over. What a round from Luca. We said he's one of the top fraggers in terms of looking at the stats for the team. I believe him and Zevi are the two pretty clear standouts. And they have had their moments throughout this game. I'm not going to lie. They're two players I think we've definitely got to keep our eyes on for the future. Pank is pretty capable as well. Having a look at his stats, we've seen some good moments from Reelsin. So clearly they are a team that's capable. And as we said, within that first half, there was a lot of rounds where they started things off well and were able to get some good advantages. It just seems like, again, they need that bit more experience in how to play out some of these kind of more back and forth chaotic rounds.
Yeah, for sure. It's good that Six is able to recover one of those AWPs because it gives them something to work with in this round. I believe he can drop his pistol to a teammate as well. And if he wants to, he can even drop his utility over, of course, and go for something aggressive on the AWPs. He'll be the only one with armor. So I'll have to see how that one plays out. Of course, there's no point chucking your utility away by going for a peek with all of your util. And just dropping one of those grenades, of course, which could easily get picked up by an opponent. Already some aggression toward middle. Six is just going to hold it basically in the open, possibly going for a second mid pick. We'll give it a go, but not to be. And yeah, that spray down from Luca was pretty sick. I mean, he had to... Thankfully for him, he had all 30 bullets in the clip, I believe, in the end. Or at least the majority. To do most of that spray. Otherwise, it probably would have only gotten 2. I think he was as shocked as anyone else to see 3 players on the site. Pank down to 6 HP, by the way. That could be risky if Maka gets himself a few picks here, but they're not going to get the smokes down and lock themselves out of the site here. The bomb will get planted by Reelsin, and it should be a Sharks round, unless Maka can do something silly through the coffins, but I think they need to be looking to try and save that AWP once again, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to throw it away, as you were saying. Kind of surprised they didn't stick around with the pistols, maybe. I can understand Haji wanting to save his Kevlar over since he's on 1700. Yeah. They could do with that bit extra. But I probably would have left Lambert and Maka to maybe try and get the finish onto the tagged up Pank, try and take down one of the other players, perhaps. just do some damage rather than letting all 5 live over, which, as you can see, is going to allow for the economy to bolster up quite a bit on the Sharks side. See whether they can keep that up now. Because obviously with the op being saved over, we will likely see a pretty solid buy here coming through. Albeit, there'll be a pretty severe lack of utility behind this, so that's definitely not ideal. Although Sixer might be able to get a little bit dropped over, considering he's already got the op. That was something you couldn't do back in the past. Now that he's already got his weapon, he could drop the gun. Obviously, he'll need to get his own things then if he wanted to, but they're going to decide against it. And I'm kind of happy with this. Obviously, it's getting a little bit closer now between the 30 and the 7. If they were to buy here and suddenly lose it, Sharks would be up to at least 9 before you get another gun round, so you definitely don't want to let that happen. So they'll give themselves a bit of a chance with the saved op and some pistols. I was going to say, wanting to go aggressive around Banana to get that early opening kill. It doesn't work, though, as the nades come in and destroy Kios.
Yeah, they will. That was very nice. Of course, often you see the T player getting taken down by the grenades, not necessarily always the CT player. And that tick, that Molotov as well that Lambert just took, I think that'll be heard by Reelsin. So some good stuff from Sharks in the last few rounds, to be fair. They're going to try and pop on this play as well, but little do they know they're actually walking into the AWP, and it's the bomb to go first. Now, that's a problem. What are they going to do now? They're going to be just walking straight into Sixer. The flashes are good, but he's not blind to that first kill. And Lambert will get one with the P250 as well. It's falling apart. You mentioned going just for the half-buy could easily work out still, even waiting patiently. And Macca's not even being checked for either. He's full blind, though. It's a wild one. JNT can't get the spray transfer. Lambert gets 2 in the end of the P250. And Dean, we've got away with it. 14-7, double the score. That's an ouch.
Yeah, I mean, that one's rough. Is that the second time we've seen them being toppled by a little bit of a weaker investment as well?
I think so. But is that T-Apps play, right?
Yeah.
I think one, yeah.
When Haji and, I believe, Macca, if I remember correctly, were able to get quite a bit of heavy lifting done. So it's not good. As I said, a lot of these rounds where they get advantages and still manage to let things slip. We could have seen a much stronger first half in general from Sharks with a few rounds that could have went their way. Instead now, as you mentioned, double the scoreline for LDLC than their opponents. Damage as well from the nades, and then a follow-up spam from Kios is going to finish off Pank, who's not having a very fortunate time right now. We're seeing continued aggression even up in the apps right now. Smoke down is going to stop JNT from peeking through. Follow up Molly as well. This is just really keeping him busy while you have the peek coming through the apps itself. But it does seem like Banana's the kind of favored position for now anyway for Sharks. They might just actually spot these players pushing forward. Was the head seen there by Macca? No, not quite. Ooh. He does see the second player jumping up on his teammate's head, but a good Molly and nade is going to do, I believe, quite a bit of further damage. And as you can see, Zevi, Reelsin, and Luca all slightly paying the price. And I was going to say this apps player might finally get some kills, but no, when someone's finally coming back up mid, he gets beat from the apartments itself. Thankfully, though, trades are there, so it's not going to be too big of a deal. Luca's left alone. He was actually trying to move back into Banana to recover that bomb that had been dropped, but he's not really able to do anything up against Macca's up, who's already posted on the angle. So we've got a 15-7 here in favor of the buys on LDLC. Again, though, not super surprising, but it's just disappointing because there's been so many opportunities for Sharks to make this much, much closer.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They'll be looking back on this one, after today, probably thinking. Of course, by the way, just a reminder, there is a lower bracket, so they're not out. They'll just drop to the lower bracket if they do lose this one. But yeah, they'll be looking at it and thinking, okay, we could have had a decent first map here. Of course, Mirage coming up next. There's still a possibility we could be doing some decent work on that one. Of course, now only pistols in this round as well. Actually getting 2 frags in response, which is decent. But Haji's grenade was always going to find JNT as he was such low HP. They're going to make some progress up toward the A site, but with Haji still in the apartments, it's going to be a bit rough. Of course, with LDLC winning on that half buy as well, it just does wonders for your CT side economy. So it's going to be tough for Sharks to break if they ever get back into it, which is looking unlikely for sure. Haji's going to get pressured by this pistol in the apartments, and Zevi actually finds him. Nice pick from him. Zevi's been insane so far in this game, alongside Luca. Has been the 2 shining lights, really, of the Sharks side. Kios is going hunting, though, wrapping back around second mid, and I don't think Zevi knows he's directly underneath him. He's going to be behind that player crossing across the bridge. That is Reelsin. He will look round and find him. Now, surely that'll activate Zevi. It does. So they do have a 2 versus 1 to work with. Macca now has a 1 versus 2 with a kit, an incendiary, the AWP, and a flash as well to work with. The bomb has not been picked up yet. 30 seconds to go, or 35 seconds to go. So they're going to need to look for it. And they will manage to pick it up. There's no one close, but they're worried about it, of course, considering the position that Kios was in. Macca Just waiting, seeing what can happen. 20 seconds to go. They're going to ship this bomb off to the A site, so it's up to Maka whether he wants to go for this or not. He can buy the AWP in the next round anyway, so I would say give it a go to try and close the game out, but let's see.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to. He's following your advice, Travis.
Is there a rifle
Travis
down?
I mean,
so.
I think there was in towards the apps there, but he's not going to bother moving back in for it. Even then, I think that might have even been the one that Zevi took rather, so he doesn't really have too many options. And as the mollies start to kind of just burn short there, he decides, yeah, there's not much I can do anymore. I'll back away and save the op, even though I have money. I do still have some teammates who are a little bit lower on the economy. You've got Lambert and Kios who are both struggling a little bit in the low thousands right there, so they could definitely afford some drops. And you've got the opportunity still to close this out. It's really not too big of a deal that they're able to take themselves their 8th round here. You've got 7 chances to go ahead and seal the deal on this one and to still head on to Mirage in a pretty dominant fashion. So we'll see what can be done. As I said, all the drops
you're right about it being dominant. To be fair, you're right about it being dominant because, I mean, it's round 24, right? And look at the deaths on LDLC, right? Six has only died 10 times. Mac has only died 10 times. Haji only 14. Kios only 13. That's not really much in 24 rounds, to be fair. There's a lot of rounds where they've survived with all 5 players alive, 4-3. So it's been pretty comfortable for them. But Sharks are showing something. It gives me some hope that Mirage could be pretty close. He needs to find this kill in the smoke. Looking for the damage. Finally gets it. If that M4 had 20 bullets like it used to, then maybe he wouldn't have got that kill. Kips is up close as well, trying to retake that position as well, considering that 6 is low. The higher health player, the untouched player, into that position. 5 versus 4 to try and close out this game. And Sharks, they have utility and they have stuff, but not really much map control.
Yeah, enjoying their stuff. As you said, though, map control would be ideal. Amanda's advantage definitely not helping them out either here on the side of Sharks. As we see the aggressive stance on Banana just kind of restricting all of the control. It's a risky one, though, because they are both heavily committed in. You really don't see this too very often, and you definitely don't see the op in that angle very often at all. As Kios, he's only good for the one. Zevi helps him out a small bit as he takes down Luca, one of the other fraggers on that Sharks side, unfortunately. Leaving them now in a very difficult 2-on-3. That bomb is going to be tough to get planted with Sixer in position, but he barely lands any shots at all. Reelzin's able to get a 180 spin on him, and suddenly they've got that bomb being planted now with a 2-on-2 retake necessary for LDLC if they want to put the nail in the coffin here and now. Sharks have a chance to keep this one going. They've got the double setup between Quad and Dark. Nades-wise, there's a smoke here still in play alongside a flash. And it's the boost for Haji to see if he can spot anyone making a bit of a mistake, but they just don't need the peek. They can set up and play this crossfire off of each other, but he goes for it. That's going to give it away now. Zevi's left alone, back in on Dark. There is kits in play, so he can't really just run down the time. He's going to need the kills, and he's only good for the one as Lambert takes it over the finish line. That's going to be a 16-8 here on Inferno as LDLC pick up their map choice in, again, very, very dominant fashion.